Psst! Tara, aral tayo. Dali, tara, aral tayo. After defining what research is, we will now proceed with what are the characteristics of research. Okay? So when we actually know the characteristics of research, we would now know, we would have an overview on how to do research. Now, research is number one, systematic. Research will always have a system to follow. If you remember Pollitt and Beck, it undergoes research is a step-by-step process. Okay? Therefore, research, the first characteristic of research is it's systematic. Now, there are two systems that we actually follow when we talk about research. The first one will be your macro system. Now, when we talk about the macro system, these are the chapters organized in a systematic manner. Now, I'll give you a picture on what does this mean. For example, the research paper that we will be doing consists of 5 chapters. Now, when we talk about following a step-by-step approach, research being systematic, you cannot build chapter 3 without finishing chapter 1. So it needs to undergo that process wherein you have to make chapter 1 first, then the second chapter, the third chapter, and so on and so on. So that is what it means when we talk about systematic. Now, within those chapters, within those macro system, we have what we call microsystem. And these are the detailed contents of each of your chapters or each of your papers. And again, you cannot jump from one to the other. Okay? You cannot jump from one to the other without, okay? Without going back to what is the first one, which is the first in the system. Again, research is a systematic approach. Now, number 2 is research is actually objective. When we talk about objective, you as a researcher should never produce a work out of nowhere. Okay? The results of the research must be validated and it should never have biases. The third one is feasible. The research that you should be doing should be feasible for you as researchers. Any problem of extraordinary nature that directly or indirectly affects any profession is a feasible problem to the study. While this claim may be true, for your current level as senior high school students, you'd have to take in certain factors wherein you are doing this research for most of you for the first time. Okay? So you need to consider that factor. Number 2, there are limitations to what we can actually do at this current level, okay, in the current level that you are actually in. So make sure that you follow SMART, okay? It should be specific, your research should be measurable, should be attainable, it should arrive at a result or result-oriented, and it should be time-bound. Because again, in this subject that we're actually doing, you're only given 4 to 5 months to complete a research paper from chapter 1 to chapter 5. So I know that some of you may be thinking of a lot of grand proposals. But as we progress, please do keep in mind that one characteristic of research is it should be feasible. And we should take a look at your own capabilities as of the moment, mixed with the time frame that we have and the experience, knowledge that we have, and from there, that is when we how we decide or arrive at our at the thing that we really want to research. Now, the fourth characteristic of research is it is empirical. When we talk about empirical, there should be supporting pieces of evidence and accompanying details for every variable used in the study. Okay? Now, when we talk about being empirical, we cannot just simply say that the study concludes this and that without giving the necessary facts to support that claim or to support everything that we actually show in our research paper. That is how important references are. Okay? And then next, it should constitute it should not constitute of plagiarism, which we will talk about more in the following videos. Now, the fifth characteristic of research is it should be clear. The choice of variables used in your study should be explained by you. This can be done by enriching the review of related literature or by discussing different theories on which the selection of variables is or are based. Okay? So when we talk about clarity, we should make sure that what we're actually stating is direct to the point. It should be objective. It shouldn't be beating around the bush. So that is one characteristic of your research. Clear. So if you actually sum it up, so you will see that the 5 characteristics of research are clear, it should be objective, it should be feasible, it's empirical, and it's clear. Now, these are additional characteristics of research wherein research is recursive. When we talk about recursive, it involves steps in a cyclical way or in a cyclical form, not in a linear way. What do we mean by this? For example, if you're doing your chapter 1 and then you're already at if you finish your chapter 1, 2 and 3 and you're already at your chapter 4, it doesn't mean that you will not go back to your chapter 1. It's not linear wherein you would approach chapter 1 straight up to chapter 5. It's always recursive or cyclical. If you actually do your chapter 1, you've finished chapter 5, it should be related to your chapters 1 or previous chapters. It should always be cyclical. Okay? Once you've done the previous chapters, it doesn't mean that you're not going back to those chapters. Again, you can actually picture it as if it were stairs. Okay? Wherein even if you built the 5th stair, it doesn't mean that you will be removing the 1st stair. It's not like that. Okay? Next, it requires higher order thinking skills. Okay? It involves interpreting data and drawing conclusions from the data that you've gathered. So therefore, we will be employing a lot of analysis, a lot of evaluating, a lot of analyzing, a lot of evaluating, and also we will be creating. We will synthesize from what we've analyzed and evaluated. So those are the additional information when it comes to characteristics of research.